It's not just a game. It's in your DNA. Like us, you live and breathe every moment. You dissect, navigate, and analyze. At SpreadX, we bring you a world of betting where flexibility and precision are at your fingertips. With real-time analysis across all devices, wherever you are. Enjoy sports betting that's data-driven. Next level action. SpreadX. It's in our DNA.
Opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Ring. Flanagan, 25-yard lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
Virtue, official partner of Sunderland AFC.
Sport, it's not just a game. It's in your DNA. Like us, you live and breathe every moment. You dissect, navigate, and analyze. At SpreadX, we bring you a world of betting where flexibility and precision are at your fingertips. With real-time analysis across all devices, wherever you are. Enjoy sports betting that's data-driven. Next level action. SpreadX, it's in our DNA.
And there's an opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Rigg.
Bellingham, 25-yard lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
Virtue, official partner of Sunderland AFC.
Sport, it's not just a game. It's in your DNA. Like us, you live and breathe every moment. You dissect, navigate, and analyze. At SpreadX, we bring you a world of betting where flexibility and precision are at your fingertips. With real-time analysis across all devices, wherever you are. Enjoy sports betting that's data-driven. Next level action. SpreadX. It's in our DNA.
And there's an opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Rigg.
Danningham, 25-yard lines it up and drills it into the back of the net. Good afternoon to everyone joining us around the world. We're back here in the sports bar at the Stadium of Light. It's pretty much a full house behind us here, which is good to see on Good Friday as the lads head down to the southwest to play Bristol City. Alongside me, as ever, is Danny Collins. Danny, two games this weekend. Easter weekend, always busy in the football calendar.
Certainly is, and in Championship as well. From our point of view, obviously looking to bounce back after that disappointing result and performance last time out against Swansea. And as you say, we're sort of caught in that position at this moment in time where we obviously know we're in the playoffs. We're obviously not sure who we're going to be playing yet, but could be today's opponents. So it's a good test this afternoon for the boys, and obviously Regis making a few changes as well. Yes,
let's get that team news straight away then if we can, and Danny will talk you through the changes and what we suspect the formation might be for Sunderland. We were expecting changes, weren't we, again, as we are in this kind of weird period of time?
Well, yeah, we are, yeah, but I think the key for most fans would be getting some momentum going into the playoffs. We're sort of treading water a little bit this moment against Swansea as well. So it's going down there. It'll be a good test. I've watched Bristol City a few times this season.
And that's a pretty good side on paper, isn't it?
Yeah, looking at ourselves, obviously, looking at the changes as well. Kjelda coming in at left back. Again, Trey moves across back to his natural position with Alan Brown dropping down to the bench. Lafay coming in there. I think you look at the last couple of games when he's come off the bench, he's played a little bit deeper. And even against Swansea here last Saturday, he was getting on the ball, trying to dictate play for us. So I'd imagine similar today, he'll drop down alongside Dan Neil at times to try and get on the ball and make us tick over. And then obviously Mienda is the other swap again, top end of the pitch. And from our point of view, it's trying to get the strikers firing as well now going into the playoffs. That'll be the key, because look where the last few goals have come from. They come from Trey Hume at fullback. So we need to start producing at the top end of the pitch.
Yeah, that's the Sunderland team for you there. Let's go into the action from Sunderland's last time out. Of course, that was a home defeat against Swansea City. And yeah, it was just another one of those games where the fans were a little let down by the end of the 90 minutes, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, there's a few debated offside decisions, weren't there? I think you can see this one. I've heard a few people saying they didn't think it was. Clearly, we get the benefit of a monitor to see the replays, and I think he's got that call right. I think Isidore does stray a yard offside when Dan Neil plays him through. But I thought credit to Swansea, they started really well. They should have scored after 90 seconds or so, didn't make the most of it, but they were a threat all afternoon really down the flanks. Same before the game, going into it, Swansea sort of sat in that zone of not really going to go up or trouble the relegation zone either, come and play with a bit of freedom. And that's what I want to see from us at this moment in time, where we've qualified for the playoffs. So go out and enjoy your football, and that's what, when you're getting 40-odd thousand still coming to the Stadium of Light, that's what they want to see, and just wasn't quite there. The pace and the tempo of the game didn't really happen from our point of view, and then obviously Swansea go and get the goal, and we've seen it time and time again when teams come to the stadium, get themselves in front, then sit a little bit deeper, it becomes hard to break them down, and obviously we didn't manage to do so. Yeah,
a frustrating one, but players were coming back and players were getting minutes, and this another good.
Yeah, that one there, I think he is onside, and you see the linesman down below there, the flag goes up, so you can see a little bit of frustration from the Sunderland fans in there, but it was tight, and Wilson had one of those afternoons where 3 or 4 calls flagged offside, didn't see too much in terms of ball coming into the box, and he was getting a little bit frustrated, wasn't he, as the game wore on as well. So, as I said there, now you want Mayenda coming back in.
Was that a foul?
No, it's not a foul, is it? Again, he's involved again, the linesman. Tommy, naturally he's a winger, he wants to be driving the other way, but he's helping out, doing his defensive duties well. He gets the challenge in, he wins the ball, and then obviously, listen, there's still a lot got to happen after that. From our point of view, we want to defend it better. But credit to Swansea, it's a decent ball in, it's fizzed in there, and Harry Darlin gets the first contact on it, and then his centre-half partner, Ben Cabango, does the rest, doesn't he? So, yeah, set pieces. We've conceded a few this season. It has been a bit of a concern. Obviously, you go back maybe to Leeds down at Ellen Road that night where they got back into the game with set pieces, and we have conceded 1 or 2 since then. But we've also scored a couple, Trey Hume, for example, in recent weeks. So, vital part of the game, and that was the difference on the day. And then, as I said, at this stage in the game now, Enzo's come on, Mayenda's off the bench, and we did look a little bit more of a threat in the final third of the pitch. And Patrick as well, as good as he was, is this the shout for the penalty? No, it's not this one. We'll have a look at the penalty shout as well, coming up now. But yeah, it's frustrating, as I say, back-to-back games where we've not scored. And when you come into the business end of the season where you're looking for your players top end of the pitch to be firing, well, we've still got 4 games to go, so hopefully between now and the first game in the playoffs that can happen.
Yeah, it's going through some more opportunities in the game. There really wasn't that many for either side, really, and I think that's what frustrated the fans, because they turn out with their numbers every single week, don't they? And they want to see a performance from their home side.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll just have a look at the penalty shot on Mayenda here now, yeah. And I think it's a penalty. I think there's a lot in it. Look at the foul straight away. Look at the man who's given it away. Ball slipped into him, and Chris, good touch there. Cross, leg comes across, doesn't get the ball, and look at his reaction there. A little nervous look at the ref. So I think if it's given, nobody would argue it. So, yeah, they've got away with one. But just a disappointing, obviously, it's a defeat at home. It's in the record books, and we've struggled against Swansea in recent times, if we're honest. But got to put that behind us now in these 4 games. And how many times I sat here and said to you, I don't like the phrase, there's nothing to play for. Well, there's a lot to play for. There's lads coming into the side now who are playing for the shirt for that first game in the playoffs. So we need some positive performances individually and certainly collectively, a bit more energy and tempo about us.
Yeah, and as an ex-pro yourself, Danny, is there ever an occasion when a footballer crosses that white line and doesn't give 100%?
Well, no, because you train all week. As a former player, I've played for 18 years, and you train Monday to Friday. And what do you look forward to as a player? What have you looked forward to as a little boy, 6-7-year-old, since you pulled on a pair of boots, is crossing that white line and playing football? And that's what you train all week for now. And as I say, especially professional level and the amount of numbers and the fans we get into the stadium as well, 35, 40,000 in the stadium like for every home game, then you want to go out there and you want to put in a performance. And again, I'll say it when I've sat here, the boys know themselves. They've got levels that they can reach. Earlier in the season we were there, but in recent weeks they've not quite been there. So we've got to try and turn that round. And again, we'll speak to Rob in a minute, but we've had this debate recently where he says about results more important than performance. Not for me at this moment in time. I would rather us have played really, really well last week against Swansea and got beat 2-0. Do you know what I'm saying? And so, but come our way, and the fans would have come away thinking, do you know what, look at the intensity from us, the press was there, we moved the ball really well, created numerous opportunities, it just didn't happen. Rather than we sort of limped through the game. Yeah, we had a little bit later on in the game, but didn't do enough overall.
Let's have a quick look at Bristol City. Too many cities. Bristol City this afternoon, home side. There's some scenes from down at Ashton Gate as well. Not many changes for them this afternoon.
Yeah, just the one, isn't it, on that right-hand side. Tanner coming in, Hirakawa dropping to the bench. And as I say there, they're sat below us in 5th position, having a little look over their shoulder at results. Strange in a way, because as we say, they're a place behind us, but 12 points. So there's that gulf in terms of the points. But they'll be confident. As I mentioned, I've seen them a few weeks ago against Norwich, played really well. I've seen them another game after that, I can't remember the opposition, but they moved the ball really well, and you can see the way they're set up and the way they play on the front foot, full of energy.
High possession,
so it's going to be a good test this afternoon.
And that's what Liam Manning's side does. We'll just stay with these pictures here from down at Ashley Gate as we discuss this side. It looks like Sunderland are going to be wearing that turquoise kit, which they rarely wear this season as well. It's a good chance we could play these guys in the playoffs. So does Regis keep his cards close to his chest today, or does he go for it?
No, I just think, knowing Regis as I do, and just the way he talks, I think it's just game to game, really. Yes, he'll probably think, of course, these could be our opponents in a week or coming up in a few weeks' time, but focus on today. And what's his main focus is trying to get us going again. A bit of confidence in the camp, I think, in the way we move the ball a little bit quicker, especially in our defensive third when we move it slow around the back. The centre-backs, Luke, and sometimes, you try and dominate possession and work it through the lines, but sometimes you've got to inject a little bit of pace into the game as well, and I think we can do that a little bit better. But from Regis's point of view, he'll done his homework with the coaching staff. They'll know all about Bristol City, of course. And as I said there, they're in decent enough form. Coming into it, I think, in the last 8 games, they're second in the form guide, so coming into it full of confidence. And it'll be a marker for them as well, because they'll think, you've asked us about us thinking about them in terms of an opponent going into the playoffs. Well, they'll be thinking we could end up with Sunderland as well. So, and then the psychological side of it comes into it today. If we don't put in a good performance, we get beat 2 or 3, they're coming away. Our lads will be getting back on the coach thinking, we're struggling here. Whereas Bristol City are going into, if they do go into the playoffs, full of confidence and saying, do you know what, we beat these a few weeks ago. Yeah, so it's a big game this afternoon.
Yeah, we also get a good game against a high possession, high pressing side as well, don't we? And it looks like it's raining down there, so the ball will have that extra
a little bit
of
zip on the surface.
It always makes for a better game, doesn't it, Danny?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and exactly. And it's, well, from us today, obviously we're not down there, but it's a camera angle here. It's real far out, so you get a good picture of what's happening on the pitch as well. But yeah, individually, as I say, Dan Neil, right throughout the team there, they'll be having a word with each other as well and saying, listen, boys, come on, we're right into the business end of it now. Let's not just, you look at Sheffield United as well, dipped in the last few weeks, lost 3 on the bounce. They're all of a sudden playing catch up with Leeds and Burnley as well. It's getting away from them. We knew that had happened a few weeks ago now, so the focus has been on the playoffs. And yes.
Should we throw up the league table, Danny?
Let's have a look while we're discussing it. Yeah,
the league.
But you can't, as a footballer now, you can't just drift through games now because it gets away from you, and that's what's happened in the last few weeks for me, coming up against opponents who haven't really got much to play for. Do you know what I mean? Look at Swansea, Norwich just tucked in below them there, who sort of can't really go up, can't force their way into the playoffs, and aren't going to go down. But we've come away, not scoring against those 2 sides really. So yeah, you want to get back to it, and certainly against the sides who you're going to come up against.
And interesting games this afternoon as well, involving West Brom, Middlesbrough as well, Coventry, and Blackburn, of course, who we face on Monday as well.
Yeah, well, mention it, and I've seen something put up last night where every team seems to be involved
playing
in
for something.
Yeah, I think Middlesbrough play Plymouth, so obviously Plymouth have fighting for their lives, springing 1 or 2 surprise results, beat Sheffield United, didn't they, last time out as well. But everyone, you're looking down to points-wise there. Watford are still involved, aren't they, as well, really? So yeah, it's tight. I think there's 2 places up for grabs. I think, really, if we're honest, aren't they? It's going to be us and Sheffield United, possibly, and then Bristol City right the way down. Probably Watford, I would say, unless Swansea get on a run. Which, to be fair, they've had some decent results in recent weeks, and so yeah, they'll be looking at it and they'll thinking if we get 3 wins, then we're probably going to get over the line. Those teams on sort of 60 points there, trying to force their way in.
Can we have a look at the bottom of the table as well? And this does include Luton's result. So they've level on points now with Derby County, which brings Derby right into it as well.
But Plymouth are the ones, aren't they? Yeah, we've sat here and we keep writing Plymouth off. They seem to have a good result, and then they have a terrible result following that one. But a little bit of consistency, but they're still in with a fighting chance, aren't they? A win today. The goal difference isn't great, is it? So they could leapfrog, go above Cardiff. I think Cardiff play one of the top teams today, don't they? Is it Leeds? No, they play one of the top sides. But yeah, they've got to do their job now. They know that they're in with a fighting chance with 4 games to go, and most of the teams there will all be looking over their shoulder. Yes, so I think Sheffield United, they're playing Cardiff. So it's going to be interesting top end of the table as much as it is down the bottom as well.
Look at that. They've got the diamonds on Bristol City this afternoon. That's the bottom of the championship. What we'll do now, we'll go to a quick ad break and give you a chance to get your matchday streaming passes wherever you're watching the game from around the world this afternoon. Get them right now at sfc.com. Welcome back, everyone, to SAFC Live. We're back here in the sports bar at the Stadium of Light, together with lots of locals as well. The lads, of course, are down at Ashton Gate, and that's because of the 3 p.m. kick-off. Bristol City versus Sunderland. You can get your matchday streaming passes right now at safc.com. I'm glad to say Rob Mason has joined us here on the programme. Rob, how are you today?
Very well, thank you, Frankie. As always, looking forward to the game, and certainly looking forward for a better performance than we had last week against Swansea City.
Well, let's go through the side for the people who have just joined us. Sunderland making a few changes, and Rob, you can discuss this with Danny at length if you like, because people are expecting changes at this period of time. We're in this kind of limbo at the moment where Danny says as a professional you want to win every game, but the fans are looking at it and thinking, well, he's rotating these players and giving them some minutes for the ones who need it and resting the ones who need it in preparation for the playoffs. Do you go along with all those theories?
I do go along with it. Look, I think we've got to place some trust in Regis Lebris. He's done brilliantly this season. He's the person who knows these players and the state of their fitness better than anybody else. He's got a clear plan. Time will tell whether that clear plan is a successful plan, but nobody can accuse him of not having a clear plan. He's obviously taken the decision that as going into last week's game against Swansea, we were secure in the playoffs with 5 games to go, so he's going to handle these players carefully, hence the fact that we're still looking for Job to come back in the starting lineup. We all know that as long as he's fit, Job will want to be one of the first names on the team sheet when we're full strength. So he's managing those players. Another game on Monday against Blackburn. I don't expect Patrick Roberts to start that game as he's starting this afternoon, for instance. So I'm all for what he's doing. I hear the other side of the argument. In Regis Lebris's case, he can't really win in some respects, because if he played his full-strength team now and his full-strength team last Saturday and his full-strength team on Monday and in the remaining games against Oxford and QPR, and we won them all, everybody's saying fantastic. And then if we lost in the playoffs because the team was shattered, everybody would be saying, why didn't you rotate your players? So at least he's got a clear plan. I think we have to back him and hope that it does prove to be a successful plan in the end, because finally, as he said himself this week, he studied what's happened in the playoffs before, and the last time we were in the playoffs, when we just snuck in on the last day, the players were shattered and we barely had a fit defender to play in that second leg at Luton Town.
Yeah, no, I think it's trying to get a balance between giving one or two lads an opportunity and needing a bit of game time, and obviously on top of that we have had some injuries to key players as well, so they've had those opportunities as well. But I think if you look at the starting lineup this afternoon, there's probably 8 of those players, maybe 7 or 8 if you want to look at it, who are going to be starting in the playoffs. And then there's 1 or 2 other positions up for grabs for me as well. I think, look on the left-hand side, Tommy, I think the shirt's there for him now with Remain being injured. Tommy's got to go out and put a couple of good performances in now to try and nail that shirt down and sign off from leaving here in the summer with a good few performances and try and contribute for the side. Job's got to come into that midfield. You look at that today, you've got Dan Neil, Enzo coming in where Enzo would prefer to play, and Chrissy Rigg. And then you've got to get Job in there as well. And then across the back line, maybe Dennis Sirkin getting back to fitness. So there's, that's not far off your starting lineup there. So yeah, I know what Rob's saying. It's trying to get the balance between not burning the lads out now between now and the playoffs, but at the same time, Regis will try and get a tune out of these boys building into the playoffs as well.
Playoffs aren't guaranteed, of course. 4th place could be guaranteed this afternoon, I think, with a point. And we could end up playing these guys again.
Yeah, I think really 4th place is guaranteed now, but mathematically it will be guaranteed with a point. Bristol City are the only team who could possibly overtake us. And
goal difference, isn't it?
Yeah, they'd have to win every game, we'd have to lose every game. They'd have to close a goal difference of, I think it's something like 10. I think they're +9, we're +19, something like that. Which obviously, if they won 4 games and we lost 4, they would probably wipe that goal difference out. But we're not going to lose all 4 games, and Bristol are not going to win all 4 games. So yeah, it could well be a rehearsal for the playoffs against Bristol City this afternoon. And but rehearsals are just rehearsals. If you go back to the classic example is 1985 when we lost the League Cup final to Norwich City. The week before there'd been a rehearsal at Carrow Road and we'd beaten Norwich 3-1. Didn't count for anything on the day, in the final. Breaks went against us, an own goal and a missed penalty, of course, on that particular occasion. So yes, it may well be that we'd be playing Bristol City in the playoffs. If the league table finished the way it is now, we would be playing Bristol City in the playoffs. But the only thing guaranteed there is that playoff game would bear little or no resemblance to the 90 minutes we're about to watch this afternoon.
No, I agree with that, and I think it's more so fans who look into that detail. Coventry, a prime example, everyone thinks they've got this voodoo over us for some reason, but it's there to be broke at some stage, isn't it? And I think it is, yeah, as you say there, it could be our opponents going into the playoffs, but if we do lose today, I think as a former player, I would look at it, yes, in playoffs in a few weeks' time, it's a clean slate, you start again, yes, they beat us, unless it's a heavy defeat and you've got a little bit of a sort of psychological advantage, possibly, but it's another game, isn't it? There'll be different players out there, it's a different day, and you put it behind you.
There's 2 ways of looking at it. I mean, look, we don't want to get beat today, and we certainly don't want to get beat heavily, but let's imagine that happened. Yeah, they would go in with 1 over us on the game, but on the back of today's game. But equally, you might say they could also go in with a little bit of overconfidence if that was to happen. And as I say, Sunderland will be a different kettle of fish in the playoffs to how they are now. And I do recognise that you can't limp towards the end of the season with performances like we had last week, which was nowhere near good enough, and then expect to flick a switch and be at your best in the playoffs. But one thing is for certain is that we will certainly be better than we were last Saturday in the playoff games. And the playoffs, as you know, are something of a lottery, particularly when it comes down to the one game in the final. But both games really, they can hinge on a stroke of luck, a deflection, a refereeing decision, whatever it might be. But we've got to cross those particular bridges when we come to them. In the meantime, what we're all looking for, I agree with what Danny said earlier. After last week, we're looking for certainly a much improved performance. Recently, we've not really played very well, although apart from last week, we've got some decent results since the international break. But it's a big game for Bristol. They're going to be really at it. Time will tell as to what extent Sunderland is up for it, as Bristol will be. Certainly, we'll be in the dressing room now with every full intention of being up for it. But I'm sure that was the intention in the dressing room this time last Saturday, and it didn't materialise on the pitch.
No. just looking at Bristol City, looking at their record again, top half, bottom half, against the top 6. They played 8, not 1, lost 4, drew 4 so far as well. So records suggesting, if you're looking at stats, not performed too well against the top side so far this season.
Let's have a quick look at their side as well, Danny, for the first time this second half of the programme. And they've just made the one change, Danny, as well, haven't they?
Yeah, we mentioned it, didn't we? George Tanner coming in on that right-hand side, wing back out there. Generally play a 3-4-3 with the 2 outside, the centre forward just tucked in, sort of a box really, just in behind him. In Burden, George Earthy, young lad on loan from West Ham as well. So yeah, Hirakawa is the only one dropping to the bench, the number 7. But yeah, looking through the type, Naki Wells, we all know about him at this level, experienced, good poacher type finisher, 10 goals for the season. And Mehmeti on the bench, who we know obviously from his Wickham days against us in League One.
Sent off.
Yeah, he got sent off, getting involved with Luke O'Nien that day, wasn't he? And 12 goals as well, and he's been off the bench the last couple of games. So they've got options. Sinclair Armstrong, who they brought in, paid nearly £3 million for him in the summer. Big physical presence. He had a couple of good battles with Dan Ballard over the last couple of seasons. And he's a handful coming off there, and Scott Twine. So they've got some good quality in that squad. They're well set up, as I said. I've watched them a couple of times recently. They know that they're set up to. It's one of those formations anyway where we've sometimes struggled. I go back to Watford away, back 3 with wing backs, and sometimes when you're in your shape, you're never quite sure who goes out to press the wing back, who's picking him up, and the communication between your full backs and your wide players is vital this afternoon. So
well, Liam Manning is in his second season now at Bristol City as well, and he's perhaps getting his rewards for the style of play he wants to play in the Championship. And he was recognised as a manager coming through. He's still only 39 as well. He's had some personal issues. He's bounced back from that, and he's got his side into the playoff positions. And it's the first time for a lot of years that Bristol City have been in contention for that. In fact, it was a former Sunderland manager, Lee Johnson, who last had them in contention for that, wasn't it?
No, and as you say, the way he set up Manning over the last couple of seasons at MK Dons, I think, and that almost come close a couple of years back. And
he had to spell at Oxford as well.
Likes to dominate the ball. You can see just by watching his teams. Obviously, you don't watch them week in, week out, but the games I've watched them, you can see they're well drilled on the training ground. Just patterns of play, the rotations out of possession, really good. And as I said, the game against Norwich, where I watched them, they almost set traps where Norwich wanted to mess around on the ball at the back. Punished them a couple of times that evening as well. So we've got to be careful at that, because in the last couple of games, certainly last weekend as well, Swansea, we almost got caught a couple of times in possession in our defensive.
Always a worry, isn't it? Yeah. Rob, historically, has there been many infamous meetings, or have you got any other stats about today?
Well, just before I mention that, talking about them winning the ball high up the pitch, I think they're the third highest in the table for winning the ball back in the final third. So that is a serious danger for us this afternoon, as and when we try and play it from the back. Historically, Frankie, there's plenty of history between Sunderland and Bristol City. No particularly standout games. I mean, people often talk about a game that affected Sunderland that involved Bristol City, which was the infamous one at Coventry that season with the delayed kick-off. They were playing Bristol City. But earlier in that season, I was just mentioning there, just until last week, Leicester had gone something like 7 or 8 games without scoring a goal in the Premier League. Back in that same 76-77 season that resulted in the debacle at the last game of the season at Highfield Road between Coventry and Bristol, Sunderland had actually gone 10 games in the top division, pre-Premier League, but it was the top division. We'd gone 10 games without scoring a league goal, and that ended on a Friday night with a game against Bristol City. The late Mel Holden scored, we won 1-0, and after that we went on a fabulous run of winning the next 3 games 4-0, 6-1 and 6-0. So that's a game that stands out. And speaking of sixes, around about a little bit later, there was a time we played Bristol City in the League Cup, and they came up here. It was a 2-leg game, second round. They won here at Roker Park 1-0 in the first leg. We went down to Ashton Gate and absolutely surprised everybody, including ourselves, by winning 6-1 down there. If we want to surprise everybody by suddenly winning 6-1 this afternoon, that would be great, but I don't want to use all of our goals up in these games. Let's keep a few for the playoffs.
Guys, I just want to pause for a second, because this week the club revealed the very sad news of the passing of our colleague and friend, Carlton Fairweather. We all have worked with Carlton for a number of years. Danny, he's just one of those people who you saw every time down the academy. He always had a high five, a handshake and a big smile, didn't he? he's part of the family here at Sunderland AFC.
Yeah, fantastic bloke, Carlton. As I said, I got to know him really well in the last couple of seasons, obviously in coaching with the 18s, 16s and doing my A licence with him, and always had a big smile on his face. You could hear him before you could see him coming down the corridor. Seen a lot of talent come through the club over the last 20 years or so. He's been around it, and he's almost like the heartbeat of the coaching staff, really, Carlton. So it's a massive loss for the football club, and he's a great bloke, of course, Carlton.
And Rob, he wasn't just respected around the Sunderland Football Club, he was respected within the game, wasn't he, as well? Very
much so. Look, you know, when your time comes, and sadly Carlton's time has come far, far, far too early, but when your time comes, all that matters is the love you leave behind, and Carlton has left nothing short of love. I loved him to bits. Everybody loved him to bits. He does have a great reputation throughout the game. He certainly has a wonderful reputation within the football club. And that was earned. That didn't happen just by accident. That was earned because Danny's just described him as the heartbeat of the coaching staff. You've just talked about him having a smile and a high five and or a handshake for everybody. Not just any. Some people have got that if the person they're meeting is important. Some people have got that for everyone. Carlton was somebody who had that reaction for everybody. He didn't differentiate with people. He was just a lovely, lovely man, a fantastic human being. It certainly took the wind out of my sails when I heard about Carlton's illness. And although we knew it was coming, it took the wind out of my sails again early this week when I got a text early in the morning to tell me he'd passed away the previous evening. He'll be much, much missed, but he will always be very deeply, fondly remembered by everybody at the club.
Well said there, Rob. And I understand the club are going to commemorate Carlton's life at the game on Monday here at the Stadium of Light. And everyone's thoughts here at Sunderland AFC, and of course everyone here in the sports bar and all the Sunderland family around the world are thinking about Carlton's friends and family at this time. We'll see you soon.
Sport, it's not just a game. It's in your DNA. Like us, you live and breathe every moment. You dissect, navigate, and analyze. At SpreadX, we bring you a world of betting where flexibility and precision are at your fingertips. With real-time analysis across all devices, wherever you are. Enjoy sports betting that's data-driven. Next level action. SpreadX. It's in our DNA.